If you've been told that drinking more milk or taking massive doses of calcium is the only way to save your thinning bones, you have been led down a very dangerous and incomplete path that might actually be making your arteries stiff while leaving your skeleton fragile. Most people are shocked to learn that your bones are not just sticks of chalk made of calcium. In fact, focusing only on calcium while ignoring the hidden ancestral foundation of your skeleton is why millions of people still suffer from fractures despite being well supplemented. Before we go a single step further, I want you to stop what you're doing and type the word strong in the comments right now. Doing this actually helps your brain anchor this new information so you don't revert to old, failing habits. Also, hit that like button immediately so the algorithm can push this life-saving data to others who are struggling, and make sure you are subscribed to Metabolic Health Lab, because what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes is the exact ancestral secret that our great-grandparents used to maintain ironclad frames well into their 90s, and it has almost nothing to do with the dairy aisle. You see, there is a massive biological misunderstanding happening in modern medicine today. We look at a bone on an X-ray and we see a white, hard structure, so we assume it's just a rock. But your bone is living, breathing, dynamic tissue. It is constantly being torn down and rebuilt. And here is the part that will blow your mind. 1/3 of your entire bone structure is not mineral at all. It is protein. Specifically, it is a very specialized type of structural protein called collagen. Think of collagen as the rebar in a concrete pillar. If you have a pillar made only of concrete, which is what calcium is like, it is extremely hard, but it's also extremely brittle. If a heavy wind hits it, or if there's a slight tremor, it snaps. But if you put steel rebar inside that concrete, the pillar gains tensile strength. It can bend, it can flex, and it can absorb impact without shattering. This is exactly why some elderly people can trip and walk away fine, while others barely bump a table and end up with a hip fracture. It's not a lack of calcium, it's a lack of the ancestral rebar that holds the calcium in place. But here's where things get even more serious. We are living through what I call an ancestral mismatch. 50 or 100 years ago, our ancestors didn't just eat the lean, skinless, boneless chicken breasts that we see in supermarkets today. They practiced nose-to-tail eating. They ate the gristle, they gnawed on the ends of the bones, they ate the skin, and they made long simmered broths from the joints of the animals. They were flooding their bodies with the specific amino acids, proline, glycine, and hydroxyproline, that are the literal building blocks of the bone matrix. Today, we've stripped those out of our diet because we've been told they are fattening or unnecessary. By doing that, we've essentially removed the glue that keeps our skeleton from turning into dust. If you're starting to see how this explains why your joints might be clicking or your back might be aching, drop a yes in the comments, because understanding this shift is the first step to fixing it. Now, you might be thinking, can I just take a calcium pill and call it a day? That is actually one of the biggest mistakes you can make for your metabolic health. When you flood your system with isolated calcium carbonate without the proper protein matrix and cofactors, that calcium doesn't always go to your bones. It often ends up in your soft tissues. It ends up in your kidney as stones, or even worse, it ends up in your arteries as plaque. This is called ectopic calcification. Your bones stay hungry and weak while your heart and kidneys get stony and stiff. We have to stop thinking about bones as a mineral problem and start seeing them as a structural protein problem. This leads us to the concept of biological triage. This is a fascinating mechanism your body uses to survive. Your body is incredibly smart. It knows that your heart valves, your red blood cells, and your DNA blueprints are more important for immediate survival than the density of your shin bone. So, when you are deficient in these ancestral proteins, your body triages the little collagen it has left. It pulls it away from your skin, which is why you get wrinkles, and it pulls it away from your bone matrix to keep your heart valves from becoming floppy. Your body is literally sacrificing your skeleton to keep your heart beating. This is why aging often looks like a collapse of the frame. It's not just time passing, it's a long-term protein bankruptcy. If you want to protect your heart while you strengthen your bones, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because we are diving deeper into the specific triggers that stop this sacrificial process. What most people completely miss is that even if you start eating the right proteins, they won't work if your signals are broken. Think of your bone building process like a construction site. The collagen and minerals are the bricks and wood, but you still need the workers and the blueprints. One of the most important workers in this process is vitamin C. Without vitamin C, your body cannot cross-link collagen fibers. This is exactly why sailors with scurvy didn't just have bleeding gums. Their old bone fractures would actually start to reopen and their joints would fall apart. the glue literally dissolved. In our modern world, we consume so much sugar that it actually blocks our vitamin C uptake. Sugar and vitamin C look very similar to your cells, and if your blood sugar is high, the cells will pick the sugar every single time. So you can eat all the collagen in the world, but if you're living on a high-carb diet, your bones will stay soft. And this is where the trace mineral secret comes in. You've likely heard of calcium and magnesium, but have you heard of copper? Most people haven't. Copper is the steel rebar of the rebar. It's the trace mineral that activates an enzyme called lysyl oxidase, which stitches the collagen fibers together into a tight, unbreakable web. Our modern soil is depleted of these trace minerals, which is why I often recommend getting nutrients from the ocean, things like sardines with the bones and skin, and oysters. These are the ancestral superfoods that provide the full spectrum of what a bone actually needs to be rock solid. If you're finding this helpful, please hit the like button. It really helps us keep this channel focused on these deep dive health truths rather than the surface level advice you find elsewhere. But what happens next is the part nobody talks about, the role of stress and sleep. You could have the perfect diet, but if your cortisol levels are chronically high, your body stays in a catabolic state. Catabolic means breaking down. High cortisol is like a sledgehammer to your bone matrix. It literally melts the protein out of your bones to turn it into sugar for energy. This is why people who take prednisone or other steroid medications often develop rapid bone loss. It's not a calcium issue. The hormone is literally dissolving the structural rebar of their skeleton. To fix your bones, you have to fix your stress and your insulin levels. So how do we practically apply this ancestral secret? First, we have to stop fearing the tougher parts of the food we eat. If you're eating chicken, eat the skin. If you're making a roast, keep the connective tissue. Start incorporating bone broth, real bone broth that gels when it's cold, into your daily routine. That gel is the liquid gold your bones are starving for. Second, you must lower your sugar intake to allow vitamin C to do its job. Third, consider the timing. Research shows that taking 10 to 15 grams of high-quality collagen about 45 to 60 minutes before a workout can significantly increase the loading of those amino acids into your joints and bones because the exercise creates a blood flow pump that delivers the nutrients exactly where the stress is occurring. If you've struggled with bone density or joint pain and this protein-first approach is new to you, I want you to drop a yes in the comments. We need to start a movement of people who understand that health is built from the inside out through ancestral wisdom, not just pharmacy aisle pills. As we wrap this up, remember that your body is a reflection of the signals you give it. If you give it sedentary behavior, high sugar, and lean processed proteins, it will build a weak, brittle frame. But if you give it the ancestral building blocks, the collagen, the trace minerals, the nose-to-tail nutrients, and the right hormonal environment, you can maintain a skeleton that is as strong at 80 as it was at 30. This isn't just about bones, it's about your metabolic freedom. It's about being able to move, lift, and live without fear. I want to thank you for being part of this community. If you haven't already, make sure you've typed strong in the comments to commit to this path, hit the like button to support the mission of Metabolic Health Lab, and subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into how to reverse the signs of metabolic aging. Your health is your greatest asset. Start treating it with the ancestral respect it deserves. I'm Dr. Eric Berg, and I will see you in the next video where we reveal the #1 signal that is currently holding your body back from its true potential. Check the link in the description for the quiz I mentioned to find your specific broken signal, and I'll see you there.